showtime.
It's about that time.
Let's go.
You're right where you need to be. This is GCOM Radio.
Hardest radio station on the planet. Yeah.
Powered by Lyfeblood.com.
We certified.
And hosted by Nova Phoenix.
Give them that flavor.
All right. We are here once again for another week, guys. How have you been this past couple of days, man? I've been all right. Hopefully it's been joyous. Hopefully it has been peaceful. And I'm kind of being sarcastic, going to lead into some other subject matter for the show. For this week. I'm just going to let you guys know. Sorry, I don't have a full show. I don't have a full show for you guys. My bad. I just had an event that I had to do, a virtual event that I had to prepare for that I totally forgot. It was all in calendar. And when I finally, I was like, wait a second, I'm not going to have time. Yeah. So, and you're probably going to say, well, you had all week, right, Nova? Yeah, I kind of had all week. Sometimes I have good days and sometimes I have bad days. I can prepare, right? And then there are times where I'm like, oh, man, I got to get the show together. And it's like Friday, Saturday. So, yeah, man. So, forgive me. And probably I have more bad days than good days when it comes to getting all my notes together and things like that. But I already told you guys that I was going to be working on trying to get some funding for Lyfeblood.com. And it was a necessary thing to be involved with. And I enjoyed myself. So, yeah, I am your host, Nova Phoenix, on GCOM Radio, on iHeartRadio. And we are here try to give you guys a nice short and sweet one because I'm dedicated to giving you guys a weekly show in whatever ways. Now I am doing this thing and I guess I'm just gonna roll right into the show. So I guess the last show I did was, well, the one before last week was like an hour. So I guess I'll try to do 40 minutes, but it might go for an hour. So forgive me. Enjoy it, man. Enjoy it as we're going through this. So I guess we're gonna slide right into this. Just me talking to you guys. So I was doing this thing called KineticCon, and it was something that was put together by a young brother. Let me see if I can pull up the actual joint here, and it was pretty dope. And it was by this brother, Kevin D. Johnson. He's a founder, and he's from MIT Sloan School of Management, and he has degrees upon degrees upon degrees. And he put together a lot of different people that were founders, that were venture capitalists, I'm sure accelerators. We had a gentleman like Kobe Fuller. He's the chairman and co-founder of Valence, general partner of Upfront Ventures. Abir Lieben, she's a senior associate for Serena Ventures. Of course, that's Serena Williams, venture capitalist firm. Who else that was there? Brian Hollins, founder and CEO of Takeoff Institute. He's a board member of BLCKVC. Of course, the founder, Dawn Dixon Akpogeni. Hopefully, I'm pronouncing that right. My bad, Dawn. She's the founder and CEO of Popcom. She has a beautiful, I love her vending machine, man. It's so futuristic. It's crazy. Who else? Cheryl Campbell is head of venture growth and partnerships for Republic, and so on and so forth. So many other people. Oh, and of course, a big shout out to Morgan Franklin. She was a host and founding member of Kinetic, and she was kind of stewarding the whole program from 9 to 5. And she did a fantastic job. And shouted out the firm, the organization, the event. On my IG. So I took up my time, met some people, listening to a lot of panels, going into how hard it is for Black founders and POCs to get funding, getting into the information as far as some good kernels, some good gems as far as the VC world and how to actually get funding. And also, is the VC world really reliable? A couple of panelists did talk about that, because 75% of the businesses that go through the VC channels fail. So they're actually considering what new methods they can use to actually get people funded. But that's just the nature of the game, because they're looking to get those unicorns. And one panel is like, maybe we need to shift away from unicorns and more say, I don't want to call them donkeys, or I forgot the animal. Should probably say horse, I think. But really, instead of trying to go for the top astronomical number of getting that unicorn, probably just supplying founders with enough to sustain themselves in their community where they come from. So it was an interesting take, just kind of doing a self-analysis on themselves in the VC community. And it was a lot of good information there. That community, I felt real good. It was dope, man. So I'm looking forward for the next one to come along. So that's what I took my time with. And the next one probably I'm going to do is in May or July, one of them. I'm actually in talks with people now to do it. And like I said, folks, 2021 is going to be the year where Lyfeblood is going to get funding and really take it to the next level as far as seeking out the wider market and reaching out to people. And shout out to everybody that signed up to Lyfeblood.com so far and coming in early. Thank you for that trust and for that confidence. And there's definitely going to be some things that for you guys as we start to kind of build up and expand and take it to the next stage for Lyfeblood.com. Man. So the next thing on here, Justine Batemen. Justine Batemen, I saw an article. She has a new book. Of course, Justine Batemen. Her brother is the other Bateman, and that Bateman that does, what is that show? I love that show, and it's actually they're building up to doing the final season. So it's Justine and her brother, I think Kevin Bacon. No, Kevin Bateman. My bad. Justine and her brother. Who's her brother? Jason Bateman, and did Ozark on, I think it's Netflix that Ozark is on. Yeah, I think Ozark. But Ozark is hot. And I caught on to it late. I didn't jump on Ozark. I got into Ozark probably like 6 months, a year ago or something like that. Dopeness, man. But yeah, so Justine, I haven't seen Justine in a while. She was doing this interview on her new book called Face, 1 Square Foot of Skin. And it's all about short stories of women at different ages dealing with their beauty standards and what women in the industry, in the movie industry, and of course she changed names just to give an opening or just a look into, a peer into what it is to be women in Hollywood, and how so much pressure is on them to try to keep up this idea of this look of youth, forever immortal youth. And we all know we're all going to age. It's just a part of the game. And it's something that Justine was trying to say, we should accept ourselves as we age. It's a natural thing in life. And she says she's never gotten plastic surgery whatsoever. And I think that's dope, man. I think that's dope, because we build up insecurities over time when we're constantly feeling pressure to having to conform to a beauty standard that is unnatural. It's unnatural because we are all going to age. And to see so many people, men and women, that go under the knife to try to deal with their own insecurities, man. And after a while, it goes down this point of no return, man, when they're doing plastic surgery on their face and everything starts to look the same, even if they're getting different plastic surgeons. It's crazy. They get like the squinty eye because they're pulling back the skin on their face to tighten it and to smooth out any wrinkles or anything that, the crow's feet that's at the edge. It's crazy. High cheekbones, the pointy chin, the pouty lips. It's just like, even into the ridiculous. Now, and there's some horror stories. There's Jocelyn Wildenstein. That's a horror. Just type in her name and Google it. She was married to some socialite or something, and she had about millions and millions of dollars of plastic surgery where she was addicted to it, and now she just looks, man, every time I see this one, Jocelyn Wildenstein, however you pronounce her name, I always think of that Twilight Zone movie where this dude was in a horrible accident And so suppose, as they say, and his face is wrapped. I'm talking about the old 1960s Twilight Zone. And by Rod Sterling. And all the whole time in the episode, his face is wrapped and his doctor's talking. You don't see the doctors or the nurses' faces. Like, it's always in shadow, or you look in the cameras behind their head. And at the very end, right, when the big reveal to see how this guy's face looks, and then all of a sudden they unwrapping him, and they finally unwrapping him, and then all of a sudden you see the horror. Well, you don't see the doctors and nurses' faces, but you see the reaction, the body reaction. Oh my God, it didn't work. It's horrible. And then all of a sudden, you like, as a viewer, you're just looking at it. It's like, oh my God, you thinking you're gonna see this twisted, mangled mess, and you finally see the dude's face, and the dude's face is normal. It's crazy. But then here's the crazy part. Here's the even crazy part. The camera pans to the doctors and nurses, and it's so scary and spooky. Their faces were twisted, and it was pig-like. And all of a sudden, you just see the camera panning from the doctor to the nurse, to nurse 2, to nurse 3, and in all this crazy angles and twists and turns. So it was kind of an interesting take on where we go with our beauty and what we consider to be normal. And it was so freaky and it was crazy. I thought it was such a dope episode, talking just about beauty standards, man. And then the doctors and nurses thought he was like horrible, and he was just his face was regular and everything. So I encourage y'all to go see that Twilight Zone. I think it's on Netflix, actually. Go peep that. I forgot the name of the title of the episode, but just look up. Say if you Google, it's easy. This is the internet. Just Google pig faces, doctors, nurses, Twilight Zone. It'll tell you, and you'll definitely find out where to see that episode. But man, it so ties in to what I see when you see these horror stories like Jocelyn Wildenstein, Carrot Top. He was a comedian that did a lot of props in his shtick. He started getting crazy plastic surgery on his face, and I'm like, what? There's nothing wrong with this people. French actor, here's another one horror story. French actor Igor and Grichka Bogdanov, if I'm pronouncing that right. And that's almost like Jocelyn. It's like, I'm like, what? They mutilated their faces. And I never understand. I always say that even with Lil' Kim, what she was doing to herself in hip hop. And I said this before on the show. Sometimes I'm just disappointed in seeing Lil' Kim and what she did to herself. She kind of like switched up. I think she was getting a lot of attention. How everybody was like gasping, like what? What she did to herself, and lightening her skin. Of course, as black folk in this country, we're always extra sensitive when it comes to what we try to conform to. Trying to European beauty standards and lightening your skin, straighter nose, all these things. And that's what she was doing before, but I think she was getting a lot of attention on it. So now she browned herself. But of course, it's irreversible in the plastic surgery on her nose. And so she did a lot of obvious work. And I felt so disappointed because I'm like, man, I thought we left that back in the day with Michael Jackson. As much as we love Michael and all the music that he's done, he's the king of pop. There's nothing that you can take away from Michael Jackson. I love Michael Jackson, but we also know the flip side of the horror story with Michael Jackson, what he did to himself. And I just thought that in the age of hip hop that we fully accepted who we are as black folk, probably a touch here, a touch there, but not to the point where I thought Lil' Kim, and I love Lil' Kim, what she did to her face, man. I'm like, a lot of, I'm gonna keep it real. I just saw Cardi took a real good look at Cardi now, and Cardi B is going down that same road, man. It's sad because I see it in her face, I see it in her nose. She got the nose job, the same old, the squinty eyes. She's pulling back her face, and I'm like, there was nothing wrong with Cardi B. She was a pretty woman. And now it's like when you're in this industry, it warps your understanding or your perception of what beauty is or what it should be. And you're under constant pressure, especially women, under constant pressure to try to be the best, especially when you have new talent, younger talent, 15 years younger than you. Well, of course, supple and tighter skin. So you always feel like you're under, it's just this competition. and they go down this road where, and big shout out to even to K Michelle, because she reversed it, man. She did, and it's not just the face, especially with black women, and pumping their asses full of fat, switching their fat from their thigh into their ass, and it gets too crazy. It gets too over the top, and of course there's some medical problems with that, and K Michelle said, I don't want to do that. This, what did I do? And she had pains and stuff, and she's going back, man. And she's doing something in terms of, she shared on her Twitter, trying to get stories of people that, wanted to take or went down the plastic surgery route, and it turned into a horror story. So hopefully she could be an ambassador to, how a lot of these, young, highly impressionable, I have to say, even in young adult years, 25, 30, and with these celebrities, female celebrities and men celebrities can, think twice about going down that route of plastic surgery. It's crazy. The other thing that that of course, I speak about it all the time. I always speak about it, and sometimes it's hard to talk about, and police brutality cases, man. Here we go again. I spoke about it on the show a number of times, and we're right back to it. This particular video was by a U.S. Army lieutenant. He was pulled over by cops in Virginia, and he was maced, humiliated, and embarrassed by two racist cops, man. Pulled him over because they said, of course, same old BS excuses. They said that he did not have visible plates. It was a new truck that he was in, and he had the paper plate in the window. When you get a new car and you don't have your plates yet, those are the temps that you use so you could drive on the street. But their attitude. And then this happened in 2020. So all of a sudden, the video drops, and it's all out there. Now, a few points that I have for this. One, that it happened in 2020, and here we are in April, and we're just now seeing this. Now, here again, when you have abuse happening in the PD or you have racist cops, they're going to hold on to this video, and hopefully in some way, shape, or form that this never sees the light of day. But you know what? You can't hold back the truth. The video comes out, it goes viral, everybody's sharing it, celebrities. And then the thing that I love about social media and the internet, even if major news media does not want to pick up on the story, they cannot avoid it because of the immensity of people talking on the internet. So you do not need major news to get the latest in what's happening around the world or right on your corner. You can use Twitter. So here it is, these cops in the mix of this Derek Chauvin case. Before the trial started, they felt that they can go out there and they had the ability to terrorize this man. Even in the midst of all this, they felt that they could terrorize this man. Interesting. That's one thing that I looked at as this thing is gaining steam. The other thing I'm looking at is the chest cam footage. This wasn't by some random person. It wasn't by the video of the person that's being terrorized by these racist cops. This is from the chest cam footage that got released. Now, my thought was watching this, what kind of system do we have in place, or what do they have in place, where two officers felt that they were open enough to terrorize, harass this man, and felt that they wouldn't have any consequences come upon them and brought back to their PD? They felt it was all good. Sure, we're going to do what we're going to do, even though our chest cam footage is capturing all the fucked up shit that we doing. We ain't got no problems. We're not going to get caught. It's just not these two police officers we're talking about. When you look at it that way, we're looking at an entire system of a police department that is going to use every resource that they have to cover up and to also support this craziness continuing. This wasn't an accident. This wasn't a misinterpretation. It was an overplay of the law. However you want to see this. This was about the hunt. It was about seeing a hued face, a colored face, a brown face, a black face, and wanting to dehumanize and destroy another soul. There was no reason for the aggression on that missing tag. It was all about the hunt, because you could see it in their behavior. You could see it in how they're approaching the man, guns drawn. And that brother was trying to stay calm and collected and trying to control the situation. It's funny, right? He was trying to control the situation, the heat in the moment. They weren't. So they wasn't doing a routine stop. That's why people are calling to defund the police. If ever that message gets mixed up, that's why people call to defund the police. I don't care what you call it. This is more than training. Training ain't fixing this. Reform is not fixing this. Those cats went out there to cause mayhem. Now, one cop already got fired. I forgot the cop name. It don't even matter. One cop got fired. Both of them get fired. Right? So this is what we dealing with. And this happened in 2020. Now, and you think that was gonna be the only thing I was gonna talk about. And it kind of rolls into, it does roll into another situation. Daunte Wright in Brooklyn Center, Minnesota. This happened recently, yesterday, or the day before. Excuse me if I don't have the right date. But this happened now. Now that the Derek Chauvin case is happening. Trial is happening. In the midst of this happening, this brother gets caught up, Daunte Wright, in Brooklyn Center, Minnesota. He was shot when he was told to get out of the car. The cop said, of course, after the fact that there was a warrant on his arrest, right? That's why they wanted to apprehend him or take him into custody. And it's funny, this is, again, the beauty about the internet. They actually had the warrants of the gentleman, Daunte Wright, and it was about, if people doesn't already know, if you guys don't know, if you guys don't already know what these warrants are about, it was about marijuana. The charge was Daunte Demetrius Wright, the drugs in possession of a small amount of marijuana, statute 152.027, a petty misdemeanor, and he was convicted, and he was planning, and all they simply did was give him a fine. Now, the fine was for $50. Fees total, $78, criminal surcharge, $75, law library, $3, He was going to pay it, not a problem, right? And the balance due was 4/12/2021. It goes into another warrant saying there was disorderly conduct, offensive abuse, noisy, blah, 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 blah. So this one was, what's this fee here? Law library fees, $13, municipality fines, $100, criminal traffic surcharge, $75, $188 in total. So those two warrants came up to over $300. He went to defer the payment, did not pay it for whatever reason. So there was a warrant put out against him. So these cops felt that this was the high crime, the Kaiser Sosa of all crimes, on a small misdemeanor on marijuana. Well, I don't even care about the offensive disorderly conduct, because you could just say one curse word to a cop and all of a sudden it's considered disorderly conduct. So it's all BS from what they use against black and brown people, right? Craziness. So now I recently just saw the video of what took place. They were going to arrest him. The cops said they wanted to arrest him and he was trying to get away, right? So the video comes out. I'm like, let me see this. It's about 1 minute and 10 seconds, whatever it was. So they were trying to arrest this dude. A woman with her chest cam footage walks over to the guy. For some reason, she wants to get involved with this situation, and she grabs the guy's arm. I guess in this moment of fear of like, in whatever moment, he hops in his car, right, to get away. This woman decides to take out her gun and shoot this dude over a warrant on a misdemeanor bullshit charge. Now she's gonna say, "Well, I thought it was my stun gun." Really, you thought it was your stun gun? Now it's already being said and circulated on the internet that the stun gun weighs much less than the actual service pistol that's on her right hand, on your dominant arm, whichever is the dominant arm. The stun gun is on the opposite side of the dominant arm, and it's different color. How does she mistake her stun gun for her service weapon? And then when you see the video, she's pointing the gun. So you mean to tell me you're pointing your service weapon at this gentleman, Daunte Wright? You discharge the weapon thinking it's a stun gun, and you're gonna say stun gun. I see it. I see the gun in your hand. I see it. I see the gun in the hand, and I can tell that's the service pistol. And you're gonna say that's your stun gun? So you're gonna piss on my leg and call it rain. So you're gonna go to court and use this craziness talking about it's a stun gun when it's really your service weapon that you're discharging. That's what you're gonna use? And you think that was necessary for a bullshit misdemeanor charge on a warrant on some small amount of weed? Some of you may say, "Oh, well, he shouldn't have ran," right? So, but check this out. How many cases have you seen on TV where you have mass shooters kill multiple people and they're on a chase and then somehow they can arrest these people alive, unharmed? They're taking these people out to get sandwiches and burgers and food and caressing their back, saying it's okay. So you mean to tell me, wait a second, really? So you can arrest a mass shooter, but you gonna go all crazy and shoot a person over a misdemeanor of weed, some bullshit warrant, and say, "Oh, well, I thought it was my stun gun." Come on, man. You gonna try to sell me that bullshit? Listen. Yo, I tell you, man. I tell you, boy. Man, this just gets so tiring. It gets so tiring, man, that we gotta deal the craziness that black people gotta deal with in this country, man. And all others on the opposite end of some crazy racists, right? What black people gotta go through in this country. Not only are we watching the Derek Chauvin case, not only are we watching that, want to make sure that this dude's charged, the heavy hand is brought down on him. But now we also, at the same time, got to still deal with cases that are happening at the very moment that this case is going on. And we got to look at more murders and more abuse and more aggression and more racism and white supremacy and police brutality and systemic racism play itself out. That is what's emotionally draining and frustrating. Oh my God. And we have Representative Jaya Paul. She's the House of Rep. I forgot her state. She's talking about, okay, it's great that we passed this bill for COVID-19. We have to deal with the student loan debt. And I'm like, no, I said this before and I'll say it again. No. What's the point of dealing with debt? What's the point of dealing with this infrastructure bill? What's the point of trying to do anything if I got to go out there and deal with someone taking my life? The debt can wait. The debt ain't going nowhere. The debt's going to be there. I'm 30. It's going to be there when I'm 70. Okay? It's not going nowhere. We'll deal with the infrastructure. Yeah, no doubt it's going to be handled. But primary right now at the top of the list is dealing with it. What is the point of it all if I'm just gonna walk outside and I could get shot by police, by racist police? What's the point of it all? This has got to be the deal. This has got to be top priority A1. We got to deal with this right now. Right now. Oh, man. Okay. All right. Yeah, I don't want to say so much more. I want to let loose and turn over shit, but I gotta keep calm. I try to keep calm, all right, for others that are around me and not get too crazy on this mic. But we have to deal with this. It is primary. Nothing moves if we can't get. To me, if you ask me, nothing moves. Nothing. This whole country should shut down. Nothing moves until we could get some sort of concrete action on police brutality. Nothing moves. Everybody stay home. Not $1 spent. Nothing. Okay. Next here. Okay. Next. And a volcano erupted in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. That's an island off a chain of islands in the Caribbean. The volcano is called Le Soufriere. As best as I can pronounce it, a French name. It's interesting that this volcano has a French name. Of course, more than likely the French, when they initially came to the island, they named the freaking mountain. So I'm pretty sure that's what happened. But Le Soufriere, it went off. It hasn't gone off since 1979, and unfortunately, it went off again. The island's covered in ash and lava, most of it anyway, a good portion. The people have been evacuated to neighboring islands. But right now they're trying to do cleanup. I mean, the ash has actually reached over to Barbados. And on Barbados, if you look on the map, it's a couple miles east of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. If you would like to donate, because the people are in need of some items, especially in New York, because this in particular address is in Brooklyn. If you could go to 1545 Nostrand Avenue, drop-off dates is from April 10th through to April 18th. The folks need a lot of stuff. And let me see, of course, typical stuff, non-perishables, food, toothpaste, things of that nature. I think it's good. Whatever you can donate in a typical emergency like this, please put it in the box and drop it off at 1545 Nostrand Avenue. As I said before, April 10th through April 18th. If you want to contact anyone in regards to what you can drop off, please contact Naftali at 917-680-6338, Janelle 929-255-7626, or Nick 347-737-1678. I'm sure that even if you can't make these dates, they'll have another time for more people to drop off stuff. But these folks definitely need some emergency items to help them through this moment in time. It's quite unfortunate. Okay, Hot 97 tweeted out the Anderson .Paak and Bruno Mars. Okay, let's turn over on a lighter note. So Hot 97, Anderson .Paak and Bruno Mars in the group Silk Sonic. Their song "Leave the Door Open" has gone #1 in the country, man. That's what I'm talking about. R&B the right way. Now, okay, let me not say it's the right way. All of a sudden, we're gonna get into that conversation, but it goes back to what I said, man. R&B today, is raunchy, is detailed in every part of a situation, a moment between two people, and it's freely expressed. And you can say what you want, free country on the record. But I remember when R&B from back in the day, there was some style. Everything wasn't just said out in the open, raw and uncut. You can just mask it with metaphor and all that, man, and it was nice, man. I missed that part of R&B, and Anderson .Paak and Bruno Mars is doing it up with Silk Sonic with their song "Leave the Door Open." That's why it's hitting, because it's refreshing. It's a little blow. It's a throwback from songs back in the day, but it's refreshing because it's kind of like, thanks. They shove that. That's what I hate about the music business. Once they get a hook on something, a new type of sound, new ways being played, the music business shoves it down your throat, and they force the artists to kind of switch up their sound to what's hot at the moment, and they make the music just to shove down your throat. And I guess the point is like, yo, can we do something different? I mean, yeah, come on. And this is just refreshing, man. Shout out to Silk Sonic and a song "Leave the Door Open." Yeah, big ups to them. Last but not least, man, before I get out of here, and this is record. Wow, I'm surprised I'm finishing this under an hour. Target plans to give $2 billion towards black business owners between now and 2025. Target's chief growth officer, Christina Hannington, she says, quote, "We have a rich history of working with diverse businesses, but there's more we can do to spark change across the retail industry, support the black community, and ensure black guests feel welcome and represented when they shop at Target." That's beautiful. That's what's up. A lot of people right now are talking about how these mega corporations are not funding the ad businesses, advertising firms, black advertising firms, with their products. Because, I mean, we spend a ton of money on these products and these services, and we put them in the songs, and we do these commercials, and we blow up these products and making money hand over fist. But none of that money kind of funnels back to black businesses and goes back to the community. Target also says they're going to hire through that more black construction workers, suppliers, recruit more black advertising firms, as I said, and do business with other black proprietors. It's important that this is a two-way road with this economy, because you can't, make them all this money and then they're not doing anything to kind of fund some of these black advertising firms, man, and to be directed at the black community. Hip hop makes this world go round, and we're the driving force that pushes a lot of these products into multi-million-dollar status. So it's important that these companies give back to these firms that cater to the black community. And I'm not talking about black operated. I'm talking about black owned. Black operated is different from black owned. So I think it's a beautiful thing for Target to allocate $2 billion to black business owners. I think it's also important, we got to remember, at the time that this whole thing was jumping off in 2020 with George Floyd, we had a lot of these mega corporations come out and, kind of spin the wheels in their PR department, saying they're going to allocate funds to black business and supporting equity and race relations and all these things, and Black Lives Matter, and that was all well and great. But there are a lot of companies that we don't hear from. That's important that there be some sort of follow-up, that money is being handed out to black businesses and to nonprofits to deal with race relations in this country. And it just reminds me that if Target is going to talk about spending $2 billion with black businesses, we got to have some sort of third-party company start tabulating how much of this money is being released, to whom, where, so we can have some sort of metrics to follow up on Target to see if they are following their word. Because that is a lot of money. It looks great when you post it online in some online publication, and it's feel-good message, but we got to follow through. And I'm not just kind of putting Target in a position where it's just them. I'm talking about all businesses, especially if they're going to make a statement where they want to fund black businesses and do things race relations and blah, 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 right? So I think it's important that we have some third-party company come in and tabulate all this stuff and making sure that they're following through on their word. So we'll see how it goes, and yeah, man, we'll see how things work out. All right, so that's it, man. That's just a sort of little thing that I've seen that I want to speak about. What I've seen over these past several days. Please, folks, go to Lyfeblood.com, sign up, be a member. This is just not a company. It is a lifestyle. We're trying to change the way we do things. Yeah, you go to my IG page, and I'm in a lot of different, I'm all over the place on my IG. And a lot of people say, if you're going to create a brand on IG, you want to be specific to your brand. So if you sell pocketbooks, you want to have everything related to pocketbooks on your IG account. But you know what? Lyfeblood is a social media platform, and that involves everything under the sun related to Lyfeblood when it comes to technology, culture, lifestyle, business, racial issues, police brutality, black issues, brown issues, Asian issues, I'll say, where anti-Asian hate and all these things is going on in this country, and to actually challenge your mind on things that we are trying to control. Because a lot of times things get put out there and people may get confused about current events or whatever that may be, and it all falls under the umbrella of Lyfeblood.com, because it's about controlling the conversation and making sure that we develop a society that we all talk about in the barbershops, at home, during, while we're talking to our parents, while we're talking to our college mates. If we want the world that we want and we know what's going wrong, join Lyfeblood.com. Share with each other $1 on whatever that your passions is. You say, you're a baker. We want to support you, be the best baker that you can be. If your business is going through COVID and you are having a hard time kind of like bridging the gap to seek the dark clouds, or come out of the dark clouds of COVID, we're here to support you financially. It's about creating that community, that supporting community, that financially supporting community under the mantra of dollar power. This is the religion. I want people to donate money. I'm not going to lie to you. Donate to people. I just don't want you to come on to Lyfeblood and talk to each other and be like, oh, that's cool, and talk about the latest gossip or whatever. And no, this is about having constructive conversations on what we need to do in this world, in this society, American society specifically, to move us in a positive direction, and taking our dollars and supporting each other and creating a decentralized network, economic network engine that will help support those very ideas. And once we develop those ideas, whoever is within the platform and talking with each other, we are going to bring it out to the world, in the real world. So we're talking about creating that world here online and reflecting that in the real world in whatever capacity. It could be in construction, architecture, marine biology. If you're dealing with energy, if you're dealing with wanting to clean the oceans, dealing with plastics, eliminating plastics, introducing new things like hemp or whatever that it is, this is the world what we're creating in Lyfeblood.com. And that's just a small sliver to what we want to do. There's a whole other world that's being created that I'm building on now, that's associated with Lyfeblood.com, and this is just the beginning. So please sign up, join, start your own spaces within Lyfeblood.com, and let's build. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Thank you for listening to me ramble, messing up names, messing up words, mispronouncing them, stuttering, blah. Just one of those moments. I guess I'm just having one of those days. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Peace, and the next week we'll have a full show. All right, I'm out.
Check it.
You just listened to GCOM Radio, powered by Lyfeblood.com, for the global community.
We worldwide, baby.
See you in the next go round. From right here to your town, we out.